Ethan didn't know that one harmless line, said between bites of pizza, would change his sister's entire world. It was a golden Sunday afternoon, the kind that made everything look soft and harmless. Sunlight poured through the kitchen window where Ethan and Lila sat, fighting over the last slice of pizza. Ethan, 17, had a grin that usually meant trouble. Lila, 15, had the kind of innocence that made her the perfect target for his teasing. "You always take the last slice," she complained, reaching across the table. Ethan smirked, holding it just out of reach. "Maybe if you say please, greatest brother in the world, I'll consider it." Lila rolled her eyes. "You're impossible." "Oh, I'm not impossible," Ethan said with mock seriousness. "I'm just smarter. It runs in the family." Then he paused, eyes glinting with mischief. "Well, not your family exactly." She frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" He grinned. "It means you're adopted. Mom and Dad found you outside a hospital one rainy night and decided to keep you. That's why you don't look like us." Lila froze. "What?" Ethan chuckled, leaning back in his chair. "You heard me. You ever notice there aren't any baby pictures of you before you were 3? She blinked. "That's because Dad's phone broke." Or maybe, he teased, there were pictures, just not of you. He laughed, expecting her to shove him or roll her eyes like she always did. But this time, she didn't. She just sat there quietly, fork still in her hand, her expression unreadable. "Lila," he said after a moment, his smile fading, "I'm kidding. Relax." But she wasn't looking at him anymore. She was staring at the table, her voice barely a whisper. "Why do you always say things like that?" Then she stood up and left the kitchen, the sound of her door closing echoing through the house. Ethan stared at the half-eaten pizza, suddenly feeling the weight of his words. It was just a joke, he muttered to himself. But even as he said it, something in his chest twisted, a feeling that this time, he'd crossed a line he didn't even know existed. The next morning, breakfast was oddly quiet. Their mom hummed while making coffee. Their dad scrolled through the news on his tablet. Lila sat across from Ethan, not looking up once. He tried breaking the silence. "Hey, want me to drop you off at school today?" "No," she said flatly. "I'll walk." Their mom looked up. "Everything okay, honey?" "Yeah," Lila said too quickly. Ethan forced a smile. "She's just mad because I beat her at Mario Kart last night." But when Lila's eyes flickered toward him, he knew she was still thinking about his stupid joke. All morning, guilt gnawed at him. By lunch, he decided he'd fix it. He'd buy her favorite chocolate bar, apologize, and make her laugh again. Easy. Except when he got home, he found her in the attic. "What are you doing up here?" he asked. She was kneeling beside a dusty old trunk, one he'd never seen open before. In her hands was a small envelope with her name on it, Lila. "Ethan," she said quietly, "why didn't you tell me the truth?" He blinked. "What truth?" Her hands trembled as she handed him the envelope. Inside was a single folded paper, an adoption certificate. His heart stopped. He scanned the words twice, not believing what he was reading. Lila's name. Their parents' names listed as adoptive. "I found it when I was looking for my old art supplies," she whispered. "I thought your joke was dumb, until I started thinking. Then I started looking." "Lila," Ethan's throat felt dry. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know." Tears welled in her eyes. "So it's true." I guess it is." She stood, backing away. "You think it's funny, right? That I didn't know who I am." "No. Lila, I didn't mean any of this." She turned and ran down the attic stairs, leaving him standing there with the truth trembling in his hands. The paper felt heavier than it should. He'd made a joke that wasn't a joke at all. Dinner that night was a storm of silence. Lila refused to come downstairs. Their parents noticed immediately. "Ethan," his mom said, "what happened between you two?" He hesitated, staring at his plate. "I think I messed up." His dad frowned. "What do you mean?" He took a shaky breath. "I told her she was adopted, as a joke." His mom went pale. "Ethan." "I didn't know," he said quickly. "I swear I didn't." But she found the papers. The room went still. His dad slowly put down his fork. His mom's eyes glistened. We always planned to tell her when she was older, she whispered. We just never found the right time. Ethan buried his face in his hands. So it's true. Yes. He felt sick. Upstairs, Lila lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Her mind replayed everything: Ethan's teasing grin, her mom's gentle eyes, her dad's bedtime stories. Were they all lies? When her mom knocked softly and entered, Lila turned away. Sweetheart, her mother said softly, sitting beside her, we wanted to tell you. But there's no easy way to tell a child something like this. So you just didn't? Lila asked bitterly. Her mom's voice trembled. We didn't want you to ever feel different. From the moment we saw you, you were ours. You still are. Lila's lip quivered. Why didn't you just tell me? Her mom took her hand. Because love made us afraid. Downstairs, Ethan listened from the hall, tears stinging his eyes. He'd meant to make her laugh. Instead, he'd broken something fragile. For the next few days, Lila barely spoke to anyone. She left early for school and came home late, pretending to have extra classes. Her laughter, the sound that once filled the house, was gone. Ethan watched helplessly, guilt gnawing at him every time he passed her empty chair at dinner. His parents were quieter too, each carrying their own kind of sorrow. One night, he gathered his courage and knocked on her door. Go away, came her muffled voice. Please, Lila. Just for a minute. Silence. Then, slowly, the door opened a crack. Her eyes were red, her voice trembling. What do you want? I need to say I'm sorry. She crossed her arms. Sorry for what? For joking? For being right? He took a deep breath. For both. I didn't know. I swear I didn't. I was being stupid. Her lip trembled, but she stayed quiet. I get that you're angry. You should be, Ethan continued. But Mom and Dad, they love you. You're still their daughter. You're still my sister. Lila shook her head. You don't get it. You've always belonged. You look like them. You fit in without trying. And me? I was just picked. Picked? Ethan stepped closer. No, Lila. You were chosen. Her eyes glistened. That's not how it feels. He didn't push her. He just said softly, I'll wait. However long it takes. Then he left, closing the door behind him. That night, Lila opened the attic trunk again. Beneath the adoption papers, she found a small wooden box. Inside was a photograph, a woman with the same curls as hers, holding a baby wrapped in a yellow blanket. On the back, written in faded ink, were 3 words. For my little son. Lila touched the photo gently. For the first time, she didn't feel angry, just empty, lost between 2 worlds she didn't fully know. Lila couldn't stop thinking about the photograph. Who is the woman? Her real mother? The handwriting looked soft and familiar, like someone who loved deeply. The next morning, she slipped the photo into her backpack and walked instead of taking the bus. The air was cold, her mind racing with questions. During lunch, she sat in the library, typing fragments into the computer. Adoption 2010, Brookside Hospital. Missing mother, baby girl. Nothing. That evening, she gathered her courage and asked her mom, who was my birth mother? Her mom froze, hands trembling as she set down a mug. Lila, we don't know much. The agency told us she was young and couldn't keep you. That's all. Do you still have her name? Her mom hesitated. Then, silently, she nodded and handed her a folded paper. A name written in blue ink, Elena Cross. Lila whispered it to herself, like a secret spell. Elena. That night, she searched everything she could find about Elena Cross. There was little, except a 5-year-old missing persons report. A woman in her 30s. Last seen near the coast. Lila's heart pounded. Could that be her? The next day, she confronted Ethan. I think I found her. Who? My real mom. He blinked. Lila, that's a big thing to say. I need to know. I have to see her. Ethan hesitated, torn between fear and loyalty. Then I'm coming with you. She stared at him, surprised. After everything? He smiled faintly. You're still my sister. You think I'm gonna let you run off alone? That night, they packed a small bag and set out for the coastal town written in the report, Hollow Bay. The road stretched endlessly ahead, the moonlight painting the world in silver. For the first time in days, Lila smiled. Maybe, finally, she'd find the missing pieces of herself. Hollow Bay was small, the kind of town where everyone seemed to know each other. Waves crashed softly against the rocks as Lila and Ethan walked along the shore, asking locals if they'd heard the name Elena Cross. An old fisherman pointed toward the cliffs. "There's a lady who lives near the lighthouse. Keeps to herself. Been here for years." Lila's heartbeat quickened. She and Ethan followed the rocky path until they reached a weathered cottage overlooking the ocean. Smoke rose from the chimney. "Are you sure about this?" Ethan whispered. Lila nodded, though her hands were shaking. She knocked. A few seconds later, the door creaked open. A woman stood there, tall, thin, with the same wild curls and soft brown eyes. For a moment, neither spoke. Then the woman whispered, voice trembling, "Lila." Lila froze. "How do you know my name?" The woman stepped closer, tears filling her eyes. "Because I gave it to you." Ethan swallowed hard. "Wait, so you are?" "Elena," she said softly. "I never stopped hoping I'd see you again." Lila's knees felt weak. "Why did you leave me?" Elena's expression shattered. "I didn't leave you, sweetheart. I was sick. They said I couldn't care for you. When I got better, you were gone. Every year I sent letters, but they never reached you." Lila's voice broke. "I thought you didn't want me." Elena shook her head, tears falling freely now. "You were my son. I wanted you every day." Ethan quietly turned away, pretending not to cry. As the wind howled outside, mother and daughter stood together, holding on to the pieces of a story neither of them had meant to lose. But as Lila looked into Elena's eyes, she realized this was only the beginning because her two worlds had finally collided. Hay stayed with Elena for 3 days, learning stories about her life, her struggles, and how she'd fought to find Lila for years. She showed them the letters, dozens of them, all returned unopened. When it was time to leave, Elena hugged Lila tightly. "You have 2 families now," she said softly. "Don't lose either one." On the way back home, Lila leaned her head on Ethan's shoulder. "You know," she murmured, "your stupid joke kind of changed everything." Ethan winced. "Worst joke in history." "Maybe not," she said with a tiny smile. "If you hadn't said it, I might never have found her." He looked at her, surprised. "So, you forgive me?" She grinned faintly. "I'll think about it." When they arrived home, their parents rushed out, tears streaming. Lila hugged them both fiercely. "I met her," she whispered. "But you're still my family too." Her mom sobbed into her shoulder. "We love you so much." Later that night, as Ethan sat on the porch, Lila joined him with 2 mugs of cocoa. "Remember when you said I was chosen?" she asked. He nodded. "Well," she said softly, gazing at the stars, "I think I was chosen twice." They sat in silence, the night calm and full of new beginnings. Ethan finally smiled. "Hey, just for the record." She turned to him warily. "What?" He grinned. "You're still not getting the last slice of pizza." Lila laughed for the first time in weeks, and the sound of it carried through the night, warm, real, and whole again.